All right, it says we are live. I'm gonna check a couple sounds and stuff real quick. Maybe. All right, it says we are live. Oh, that's probably gonna do feedback. Sorry, guys. Hey there. How are you doing, Carmen? Welcome, guys. I'm gonna do a couple little things here while everybody gets in and settled. Live chat. There we go, so I can see what's going on. Hope everyone is having a amazing Thursday. I'm gonna finish cutting out a couple things here. We're gonna be playing with this fun printable from my Etsy shop. And then we are also going to be playing with these new distressed watercolor pencils that I just got. As you can tell, they're not even out of the package yet. So there they are. I'm hoping it's working. Let me know if it's not. Oh, there we go. I'd accidentally paused, so I watch it on my phone to make sure everything's kosher, and I realized I had accidentally paused it on my phone. I was like, why is nothing going on my phone? That's so weird. It's because I'm a dork. So we're going to be playing with these bad boys today. I haven't used them yet, as you can tell, because they are still in the package. Get caught up here to where we are live. There we go. So I haven't played with these yet. We're going to play with them on our gel plate. I'm going to show you a couple of really fun just watercolor techniques. I'm not super great at watercoloring, mainly because I don't know, I'm a control freak. Let's just say that. I'm a control freak. So I love doing watercolor techniques on my gel press plate because it kind of allows that watercolor to do its thing without me having to force it. And it comes out really pretty, and I don't have to think about it too hard. While we wait for a couple other people to jump in, I'm going to grab a couple of other things to play with. I am across the studio, so hopefully you can still hear me. We're going to do a little test against Inktense blocks and one other thing if I can find them. Well, I don't know where they are right now. Well, I was going to use another medium and I can't seem to find them. That's a great question, where they disappeared to. Hopefully you guys are chatting. Introduce yourself to each other. That's what happens when I'm not prepared in the mornings. Or in the mornings. Whatever day we're at. In the evenings. It's Thursday. And we're going to have fun on this Thursday. I'm trying to find one other thing and can't seem to find it. So we might have to just do without it. Well, I wanted to do a side-by-side with these and my, hey Mary, I want to do a side-by-side with these and my Neo colors, but my Neo colors have seemed to have disappeared somewhere. So instead of Neo colors, we're going to do a little side-by-side with those. I don't know where my Neo colors went to. That is crazy. I have a giant thing of them. Oh well, that's okay. I'm going to move this stuff. All right, let's do a little playtime. There is an online, I guess, YouTuber that I like to watch. His name is Jazza. He's from Australia, and he always does this thing called, whenever he's trying a new technique, he does the dabble before he does the dive. And I always love that. I think that's great. So we're going to do a little dabble with a few things before we dive into and do this in our Bible. So this is obviously my Faith and Presence plate, and it is well loved and gross and stuff. And so we are going to use, like I said, our Distress watercolor pencils and give them a try, and our Inktense blocks, and my other things if I knew where they were, and it's driving me a little crazy. Oh well. So what's great about using it on here is, if you don't know, the base material for these, even though they're called gel, is actually is mineral oil. So anytime you put something wet on it, it's going to repel. But what that allows it to do is it allows those colors to kind of naturally meld, as opposed to if you were doing it on a surface like directly in your Bible, you kind of have to force those colors a little more to kind of be harmonious and get along. So for this technique, you're going to need obviously your gel press plate, some kind of water soluble medium. In fact, I'll grab my actual watercolors here in a second and I'll show you with that as well. And then this is just a cheap spray bottle from the travel section. You always want to make sure when you're doing something like a water soluble material on your gel press plate that your plate is pre-wet. In fact, I'm actually going to wet it down because I don't remember what that is on there. I don't remember if it's alcohol ink or if it's, who knows? I think it was actually a different water soluble medium, as easy as it's cleaning up. I know, I'm a bad girl. I don't tend to clean them, but that's okay. So we're going to do, like I said, I've never tried these and they might not work, so we might just be using the other stuff. So we're going to go ahead and pre-wet it. And we're just going to grab our little watercolors here. Oh, they're like sticking together. That's weird. So I haven't used these, so let's see. Typically, oh, you can see it's starting to come out. Typically what you would do is you would take your water-soluble medium, which it looks, since these are new, that you kind of have to work them a little bit in the beginning. So we're going to kind of allow the water to penetrate that new color base. And I'm just kind of adding this. It has a specific color. This is tumbled glass. I really wanted the brighter colors. I bought this from Sweet and Sassy Stamp. And I really wanted the brighter colors, but they were out of the brighter colors. So I had to get this. I don't remember which set this is called. This is the, oh, it just says set number 3. So it has Tattered Rose, Candied Apple, Crackling Campfire, Wild Honey, Crushed Olive, Rustic Wilderness, Hickory Smoke, Frayed Burlap, Shaded Lilac, Faded Jeans, Tumbled Grass, and Peacock Feathers. So those are the colors that come in it. Oh, this one actually got right up in there. The blue took a little bit more, but this is the Crackling Campfire. And you can see, but it's kind of just being activated by that water. And I'm just kind of scribbling it around. And then let's see, we've got, let's throw this Peacock Feather. Let's do a little bit darker blue. And if you ever start to get a little dry, just do a little spritz. And what's great about doing this too is you're going to see we're actually going to do it on a separate piece of paper. And what that's going to do is it's going to save your Bible from having all of that watercolor bleed through, which some people do, some people don't. But I tend to be kind of heavy-handed with that kind of thing, and it never fails that I have watercolor that bleeds through or goes over the edge. All right, so we've kind of just done a little doodle on a wet gel press plate. And then I'm just going to take a piece of paper, again, just our digital copy paper. We're just going to lay it on top, and we're just going to gently pat it on there. And it's taking it really well. You can see it's not really bleeding through. Ooh, look how cool that is. I'm going to get rid of this little blue, blue, blue at the bottom. Well, that's cool. Those colors look really good together, don't you think? You got the orange and the turquoise and the light blue. I wish I'd have done a little bit more of the orange on the top. So that's pretty cool. They blend really well. So let's try a different color combo this time. Let's clean our plate off a little bit here. This is giving me my scrap piece, so goodness knows what that's going to look like by the end of the night. So it has a little, that one's kind of pretty too. That's just my scraps. I'm dropping stuff. So we're just gonna clean that off and we're gonna re-wet our plate. Remember, anytime you're dealing with a water-soluble medium on your gel press plate, you want your plate to be pre-moistened, pre-wet, whatever you want to call it. Let's see, so let's dig out. Ooh, I love this bright blue. Which one's this one? This one is, well, it says shaded lilac, but I thought that was blue. Right, it's super beachy. I love that. So again, since this is a new one, we're going to kind of roll it around in the water so it kind of starts to break through the newness of our little watercolor pencils here. And I'm going to go a little heavier this time just to kind of play and see what we get. So you can see I'm kind of just swirling it around, making some little blobbies. It's a technical term, blobbies. And this one's Tattered Rose. So again, since it's new, gonna kind of roll it around. And even though these are called pencils, I'm doing a little scratch test. They kind of look like pencils, and they scratch a little bit like pencils. So my guess is they're probably very similar to his Distress crayons, just with a little bit harder material. But it's probably pretty dang similar. So I'm just getting this Tattered Rose. Actually, I don't think I have this Distress ink color, the Tattered Rose. Actually, I don't think I have that one. I'm just gonna give it a nice little scrubby scrub, and then let's throw, what color? Let's go crazy. This might be awful. We'll see. We're gonna throw the crushed olive in these little empty spots. And what's great about doing this too is, I'm not doing really any kind of technique. I would love to tell you there's this great technique and blah, 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 blah. But it's really just like super fun, just scribbling. And sometimes that's the fun part about doing stuff like this. I don't have to have a plan. I don't have to have something fancy. I'm just scribbling like I'm in kindergarten. And I'm here for that sometimes. All right, so we have a different color scheme. So we're going to try it just on the same piece of paper just so we can kind of keep all of our samples next to each other. Hopefully I didn't get that too close to each other. Give it a nice little press, press, pat, pat. See what this one looks like. Ooh, that's fun. Look at that. Cool. So I'm definitely noticing, and you might be too, that the colors are very muted for my taste. They're super fun. They seem to work really well, but they don't have like a lot of pop. I mean, they're beautiful. They seem to blend super well. They make really cool prints, but they are very subtle. So I'm going to show you guys my favorite kind of water-soluble background or water-soluble colors to use, and that is these called Inktense blocks. So what's different about these is they are actually ink in block form. So you can see, I actually have the big set too. This was my, let me grab it. This was my birthday present to myself, like, I don't know how many years ago now, but it has a lot, like, if I can open it, it literally has, like, doubles. Yay for me. But this little one has 12, and it works great, too. But what's great about this, like I said, is these are water-soluble, just like your watercolor crayons and stuff, but since it's ink, when it dries, it's permanent. And what I love about that is then it allows me to add other stuff on top of it without fear of messing it up. And the colors are so bright and so vibrant. So we're going to play with those. I am going to clean my plate off just a little bit. So I'm going to grab just a little bit of baby oil, sometimes depending on the medium that you use. Sometimes you can just pick it up with a piece of paper. Sometimes if the pigments are really small, like a pan pastel or certain water-soluble crayons, you'll just need to go in with a little bit of baby oil, and it just kind of breaks up the little bits that are on the surface. So I'm just going to give it a nice little rubby dub, and then just wipe it down like that TikTok sound. Wipe, wipe, wipe it down, wipe it down. Except I don't have a cool transition for you into a cool costume, sorry. Those fascinate me. Those people that can do those really wicked cool transitions in videos, that is some skill. All right, I'm just gonna wipe that off. And it still looks yellow because it is a well-loved plate. All right, we're gonna do the same thing, but this time we're gonna use these Inktense blocks, and you're gonna really see the difference in how bright and vibrant the colors are. So I'm gonna do the same thing, give it a little spray. And then I'm gonna go in here. We're gonna do the same thing. You can already see how much brighter those colors are, even from like the first time it touches the plate. So we're just gonna do some scribbly scribbles. And then literally you just throw it back in there. Let's go in with this blue. And those are great, like the ones that are a little bit more subtle in their color. But sometimes you want things a little bit brighter, so then you just grab something that's a little bit brighter. And I think this is purple. I'm gonna go in there. Actually, I'm gonna go in there with this pink and kind of fill in. What I love about this too is it, because of what it is it activates really fast. And if you need a little bit dash of water so it starts kind of melding together. So I'm just giving it, it's just filling in the little gaps that I didn't have the reds and the blues in. And again, this isn't any kind of special technique. It's just literally like put some water down and scribble. Living life. All right, let's do a new piece of paper here. And this is definitely a technique you would want to do on a separate piece of paper. Unless you just really gessoed your Bible really, really well, because you are using a lot of water and it could end up bleeding through. But it comes out so cool that it's totally worth it, and it makes my heart happy. Now look at that. Look how much more vibrant and saturated and vivid those colors are when you use the Inktense blocks instead of something like a water-soluble pencil or a water-soluble crayon. I mean, look, like I couldn't do that on purpose if I tried with a paintbrush. And we've got some left on there. Let's see what the second print. So whenever you're using your gel plate and you pull it, what's called a print, so you do this a second time, you get what we call a ghost print. And that just basically is the leftovers from the previous whatever you did. And sometimes it gets a little messy. That's why I have this piece of paper underneath my plate tonight to kind of keep, my surface needs to be replaced anyway. It's just a piece of like decorative poster board, but it has this really fun wood grain, but it yeah, it's starting to look rough. Right, that is true. It totally does give like some like, it reminds me, now that you say that, it gives me Crunch Berry vibes. You know what I'm talking about? The Captain Crunch that has like the red, the blue, and the purple little berries in it. That's what it makes me think of. Let's see what little leave-ins we got on here. Ooh, I mean, this is like the leftover bits. And even that is really, really pretty. And again, maybe other people can, but I couldn't make this happen on purpose. So that's why I love this technique, and I think it is so much fun to just play with. All right, we're gonna do, let's see what kind of goodies are left on here. Oh, I need to clean. Dabby dab. Sometimes this does get a little messy, but hey, that's half the fun. Just for giggles, we're gonna throw a layer of white acrylic on here and see what that's gonna do with any leftover little bits Cotton candy. So we got berries and cotton candy. Carmen, are you hungry? Have you had dinner yet? I haven't, so I feel you. I'm just gonna add just a nice little white layer on here. And we're just gonna do a little test and see how much pigment is left on there just from our little print there. But this is just such a fun way to use maybe some mediums that you haven't been able to use in your Bible. And like I said, you could do this directly in your Bible. You would just want to make sure that you added a couple layers of like a clear gesso to your page and let it dry before you did it, and it would just help protect it a little bit. So we're just gonna use that white acrylic to kind of pick up any little bits that are left on there. Ooh, that's fun too. So just look how fun. So we got 3 actually really different prints. So we've got, this was our first pull. This was our leftovers, and then this was adding a little bit of white acrylic to our leftovers. So all are super fabulous. So you don't, oh, I can totally tell you a way to do this without these mediums. Hold on, let me find them. So I teach this technique a lot of using, there they are. I'm digging through stuff, hold on a second. Boom. So you can do this exact same thing with, literally with kids' water-soluble makeup, water-soluble markers. So let's do that. These are super fun too. And I think these might even be from the Dollar Tree. And you guys know how I feel about the Dollar Tree. So literally you're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to wet this down just a little bit. And then we're going to take our markers. And you might not be able to hear it, but it's going squeaky, squeak, 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 squeak. And so I'm just going to do the exact same thing and kind of give it some nice little scribblies and kind of just, I'm going to do like a pink purple. Bright, love those Inktense ones. I love a good bright color. So this is the exact same technique we did with our Inktense blocks and our distressed watercolor pencils. We're just using just a watercolor or a washable marker, which you can find, you know, raid from your kid's stash. Always a good idea. Kind of spray a little bit more. And definitely if you're doing this, keep something underneath because it can get a little messy. All right, let's show what that looks like. Yes, you're gonna get a very similar boop, 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 boop. I probably should have done more contrasting colors and filled it. It looks like I missed a couple spots, but you can see it is a very similar. So this is the Distress. So it still gives you that really great watercolor, like blended look. Let's do one with a little more contrasting color so you can see it a little bit better. So we're going to do a little wet, wet here. Ooh, I'll show you another technique that's super fun too. So we're going to do our blue. And it's going to like beat up like this because, I mean, also these are really cheap markers. I mean, they are literally the crazy art ones. All right, let's do, and I probably have had these for a while, so fresh ones probably would work even better, but that's okay. This one's green is being weird. This green might be out of juice. Let's try this green. Oh yes, this green is much better. Need a little more water. And I do have it on like the misty setting on my spray bottle. It just kind of covers more. So I'm just kind of doing the same scribble, scribble, scribbles. Now there is a technique too that I don't use often, but some people will do it and you could try it, where they will put a thin layer of dishwashing liquid on their plate and then go in with their watercolors and paint that way. It keeps it from beating up as much. It will still beat up a little bit because, oh, I did that wrong, because it is water, but it's, but not as bad. It like gives the paint something to kind of grip onto instead of like swimming over the surface of your plate. So yeah, you could do something really, really similar, pretty much the same thing with your Crayola, your Crazy Art, whatever your like washable markers are. Yeah, look at that blue and green one. So again, I could have done a similar color combo, but it mixes really well and it blends really well into these really just beautifully soft mixed backgrounds. So that is one of my favorites to use too. Is just excuse me, it's just some washable markers from the Dollar Tree, from Walmart, wherever you happen to shop and be your soup du jour. It does basically the exact same thing as these other ones. Obviously, the only big difference is with the Inktense blocks. You do have that permanency, but these work really well too, and they're pretty permanent, right? Like maybe some ocean water. Okay, before we move on to our Bible, I want to show you guys one more super fun thing you can do. I'm gonna switch this guy out because he's getting dirty. Clean some of the water up from my plate here. Sorry if I sound weird, I just put a cough drop in. I have had some weird lingering cough from when I had a cold a few weeks ago. And it just loves me so much that it doesn't want to go away. So I've kind of been dealing with that, and I don't want to, you know, hawk up a lung on you guys. Okay, we're going to do this with the Inktense blocks just because it's there. So we're going to do, oh, let me put a piece of paper under that. Paper. I'm going to do this. I'm going to kind of spray it down a little bit. Why are you, that's being weird. There it goes. It wasn't being misty, it was being shooty spray. I don't know what the right word is. Okay, so we're going to go in. Let's do blues and greens this time. I'm going to use this funky lime green here. And it just reacts so well. But like I said, you can do this with any of the mediums we've played with. Let's do this kind of darker blue. Boop, boop. And then do this kind of, I guess it's kind of a peacock, bluish, greenish. I am not left-handed, so that feels weird. And we'll pull a print from this too, but this is a super fun you can do with this technique as well. I'm going to move that and grab another piece of paper just for playtime. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab, this is just a acrylic stamp. And I'm actually going to use this now as an ink pad, stamping pad, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to just gently set that in there, lift it up. And it allows you to make, I probably didn't press very well on that, just really cool and just different stamped images that kind of have that watercolor feel to them. So I mean, how cool would that be for a background? Obviously, I didn't get it all the way on there, but that's okay. But it has that same blend like you did if you were pulling a print, but you also had the added little benefit of whatever stamp you decided to use. So that is super fun too. And if you have a bigger plate, obviously you would get a bigger image. This was just that one. Let's see what else. So that's a super fun thing you can do. And again, you can do that with, turn it into like a stamp pad with your Inktense, my brain is stopping, Neocolors, your water soluble markers. I do have these as well. I don't love them, just being honest. I didn't fall in love with them. I played with them a few times. Maybe I'm just not using them correctly. But keeping real, didn't love them. But yeah, I've got all sorts of water-soluble markers and pens and stuff that you can just make really cool stuff with. Oh good, there's some weird spammer person. That's always awesome. How do I get rid of this person? Hello? Let me see what I can do to get rid of weird spammer people because they have nothing better to do with their life. Boop, boop, boop. Let's see if I can kick them out of the chat. Let's see. Remove, because nobody cares, you weirdo. We're going to remove and report. We're going to report that. We're going to report that. Good. Sorry. Someone interrupted our fun. I hope I got them all. If I didn't, let me know and I'll go in and do it again. Ooh, I like this color combo. So that's super funky. Love that. Yay! So that is our dabble, if you will. Now we're going to move over into a Bible, and I want to do kind of more that stamping kind of technique as opposed to the full-on background. I think I might use some pieces from it because I really just kind of want to add just a nice light background to what I'm going to be working on. So I have this. Let me dig it out from underneath all my stuff. I have this printable in my store that I've been dying to use but haven't had time. Let's see. So it is just these really cool like watercolor houses. I have it printed on clear paper. So that's a great question. So really, gel plates are good indefinitely unless you do something to damage them. So let me give you the rules. The rules that we say whenever using your gel plate is you never want to use anything that's sharp. So no scissors, no cutting, nothing like that. You never want to use anything that has a grit. So nothing like a texture paste or a chunky glitter. Regular glitter, like a really fine glitter in a paint, totally fine. You also never want to use anything that has a chemical reaction or has acetone in it, because it will react with the plate and could melt it. And that could be anything from a 2-part epoxy, nail polish. Ask how I know that one. Found that one out the hard way. In one of my plates, I have a little heart permanently living there because I thought I could use nail polish and didn't dawn on my brain that nail polish has acetone in it. And then as far as substrates, you don't want to use anything that has a coating for a photograph, because for whatever reason that clay coating will actually could permanently adhere to your plate and damage it. Other than that, if your plate is getting to the point where it's maybe either sticking or your prints aren't coming up great, what you really probably need to do is just deep condition your plate, which we can do that here real quick to this one, just to kind of give you an idea of what that is. So what happens over time is your plate just builds up residue, just like any other thing that we do. And so there's a chance that you can even see this one is more dull. It doesn't have that kind of, just that little bit of shine that a plate typically has. Like here's a brand new one, and you can see he's clear and unloved, but he has a little bit of that shine, and this one's dull. So all we have to do is just go in and just kind of give it a little spa day. We're going to give our plate a little spa day. So you want to just make sure you cleaned it the best you could. So just get rid of any chunks and that kind of stuff. And then we're actually just going to take some baby oil, kind of similar to what I did earlier, but kind of on a bigger scale. And we're just going to kind of put it all over and spread it around with our fingers. And what we're going to do is we're actually just going to let that sit. And the plate, for being an inanimate object, is smart. It knows how much it needs. So it's actually going to absorb as much of that baby oil as it needs. Now, if you don't have baby oil, you can also use mineral oil, because that is actually the basis for the plates to begin with. So we're literally just giving it just a little spa day. Just a little spa day. While that sits, another tip is if your paint has stuck for a very long time, like I'm sure, like this one has been marinating there for a while. I mean, if it's big chunks, you can kind of pull it up. I use this as a palette. But you can do one of two things. We're going to kind of set that aside and let it kind of do its thing. If you've got, like, this is some crusty stuff that's been on there for a while, I have a couple of options. I can try to pull a print, and depending on how long it's been there, sometimes the new acrylic paint will activate the old acrylic paint enough for me to be able to pull it up. So we're going to try that first. We always suggest trying that first because, I mean, not only are you cleaning your plate, then you're getting a cool print out of it. So bonus. All right. And sometimes this doesn't work because you have left things on your plate for an extended period of time, as I tend to do. There's a running joke because obviously I'm the Bible journaling, faith journaling girl, and so I always joke that I'm the dirty girl, which I know sounds horrible, but it makes me laugh because they're like, I'm sorry, you're the Jesus girl. You can't be the dirty girl. But it's a joke about the fact that I don't tend to clean my plates until they just need a little spa day. So I added that pink, and we're going to see if it can kind of reactivate the acrylic that's on there and see if we can get it to release it that way. So I'm giving it a little extra more love than I normally would. And you probably can't see really well. Oh, you might be able to a little bit. You can see how in some places it's starting to look dry. That's because our plate, you can see, is starting to absorb the paint that it needs, or the baby oil that it needs. So we're just gonna see how this does. It pulled up a little bit. Not much, but that's okay. All right, if you've tried that and it doesn't work and you're still a dirty girl, the next step is to take, which I am out of, but we're going to use a backup. The best next thing to do is either go in with your baby oil, or if it's really crusty, the best thing actually is just using some gel hand sanitizer and just wiping it on there. Now I'm out of gel hand sanitizer right now, so I'm going to just use this is just some rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle. And I'm going to just spray it on there and kind of let it sit. And it's not as high of a concentration as the gel hand sanitizer, but it'll do really similar. It just might take a little bit longer. Because what that's going to do is it's actually going to start breaking up that acrylic. And so you can kind of start playing around with it, rubbing it in if you have some chunkies. So you just want to do, again, this is what I guess would be a more aggressive spa day. We would consider this manual exfoliation, I guess. During the whole quarantine thing, I weirdly got into skincare and like was watching like random YouTubers do skincare. And so like I'm that person now that I'm like, oh, she shouldn't be using that. It's bad for her skin. Oh, manual exfoliation. No, you should be doing chemical exfoliation. Anyway, I went down a skincare rabbit hole during that whole quarantine situation. So if you need to, add a little bit more. But what that's doing, it's just breaking it up and getting all the chunkies off there. Now, I will say, if you are more comfortable, feel free to use like a glove or something like that. I don't mind getting my hands dirty, but I know some people do. Typically, I would use baby wipes, but apparently I need to restock my studio because I'm out of baby wipes too. Hand sanitizer and baby wipes apparently is what I need. And so I'm just going to take this, just get those last little bits off. All right, and now that we've done our manual exfoliation on our plate, got rid of all that dried up chunky paint. I need to clean my base plates. They look awful. They don't look awful. They look well loved and colorful. In fact, you know what? Let's just pull this sucker off. Just give it a nice little wipey wipe. You know what? That's probably alcohol ink, so I can probably just do this. Give it a nice little... Nope, not coming off. Okay, it's all good. We tried. Okay, so now that I've gotten all the chunkies off, then we want to do the exact same spa routine that we did for this other one. We're just going to take that baby oil and we're going to add some drops on there and give it that nice little massage. And then we're just going to set it aside and just let it drink up as much of that baby oil as it needs. And if you do this, I always say whenever you start having problems with either your paint sticking, your paper sticking, or your prints just not coming out as well as you thought, it might be time for this. And if you do these things, don't use the wrong things on it. Actually, no, you can use either side. Either side is great. There are some people that will use like acrylics on one side and alcohol inks on the other. Doesn't matter. I don't do that, but I'm me. But yeah, so if you're starting to have problems, unless you like physically damage it or add a chemical to it, these plates will last indefinitely. Like I have some of mine. I'm trying to think of which one is my oldest one. I mean, probably my oldest one I've had I started working with gel press like 5 years ago, 2017, 2018. And I still use the same plates, no problems. Just whenever they start getting crusty, I give them a good clean, give them a good spa day, and they're good to go. They really should be, like I said, they really should be permanent fixtures, barring anything weird. Like, don't set anything heavy on top of them, because over time that will mess them up. So, but here, I'm going to show you guys this one so you can see how much it's still continuing to absorb. And just for the sake of time, we're going to scoot this little guy over and let him continue his spa day out of sight. And then once this is sat there for a little while, and if it doesn't look like it's changing or it doesn't look like it's absorbing anymore, you're just going to take a regular piece of paper set it on top, and it's just gonna suck up any like excess oil that the plate didn't need. And it actually, it's kind of cool if you look at it. Woo, looks ghosty. Looks like I need to get a little bit more off. Woo. But yeah, just take the time to condition your plate. There is, I believe, Ranger does make a thing called plate conditioner. It's not necessary. It's probably just baby oil that looks a little bit cloudy. So it's not necessary. Do it however you want. But I just use baby oil whenever my plates start acting funky, and we are good to go. It works really well. All right, we're going to jump into... Oh, fun! Mary, where are you going in March? Just because I'm curious and I always like to know. All right, I'm going to grab our Bible. So anyone that might be playing along, we are in Psalm 91. And we are using the scripture 91 verses 1 and 2. It says, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the Lord of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust." So I'm going to put a piece of paper behind this just to be on the safe side. Well, I say a piece of paper. It's actually a big old sheet of plastic. I tend to get messy. For those of you that aren't familiar with this, this is an interleaved Bible, and it just is a Bible that has a blank page, across from every page of scripture. I have a smaller one of these somewhere. Let me see. Thought I did. This one's kind of chunky. Oh, I do. Let's get rid of this one. Oh my gosh, I bet she does a great Bible conference. That is awesome. Oop, I'm doing the wrong one. I would love to go to that one day, but I'm in Arkansas. All right, so we're going to do some of the same techniques. Oh, that's exciting. You guys are going to go be there at the same time? That's so exciting. Yay. Sorry, I'm geeking out for you. Just a girl from Arkansas geeking out for you. All right, but since I know I want to use, hi Cindy. So we're playing with some watercolor techniques on our gel press plate. And let's see what we want to do next. I think I'm going to clean my plate off a little bit more because it has some chunkies left from our last one. Give it a nice little rubby dub. Give it a nice little cleany clean. Get rid of all the little other colors that we might not want. So since my printables I am using are kind of bright colors, I think I'm going to do my background in a very kind of light color. So I think I am going to stick with the our watercolor pencils because they do give a little bit lighter of a finish than, let's say, my Inktense blocks or something like that. So we're going to do the same thing that we've been doing. I'm going to try. Well, Mary, you get to meet all the fun people. We're going to try something I've never tried before, but we'll give it a whirl. I'm going to see if I can actually pick it up and actually put it directly in my Bible. This might be a fail, but y'all know me. I'll fail live. That's fine. So do a little spray. I'm going to keep it light so that we don't end up with a lot of extra. And I'm going to use our tumbled glass here. And for those of you that might have joined late, we are just playing with some watercolor techniques on our gel press plate using the new Tim Holtz watercolor pencils. I always have to stop and look at the name because I don't know why, but I don't know. Watercolor pencils just, my brain doesn't grasp onto that. Oh my gosh, I would go to that in a heartbeat. I think it would be so fun. And Georgia's beautiful. Mary, have you been to Georgia before, or do you live in Georgia and I just don't know that? We went to Georgia. We did a little cross-country road trip and went to Tybee Island with my sister and her family. And so we stayed on Tybee Island. It was just super, super fun. Let's see. Let's just see. You know, we're going to do a test. I'm going to be a good girl and do a test first. I want to kind of give just like a cloud kind of thing. So we're going to see. Does that give us kind of, yeah, that gives us kind of a cloud situation. All right, let's do this. So I'm not going to clean my plate because I'm just going to be using more blues. But we just kind of make a really just beautiful pastel sky for our little houses that we're going to put on here in just a minute. So I already printed them on some clear sticker paper. It's a new sticker paper. It is the what is it? It's the Paper Studio, so it's Hobby Lobby's brand. I've never used it. It seems thicker than other sticker papers, and the colors stay really, really vibrant. But I did notice they took forever to dry. Okay, South Carolina, Florida. All right, so you're kind of like me. So we'll just call it a traveling girl. With my family, we moved. I lived in Louisiana, Texas, West Virginia, New York, Missouri, and now Arkansas. Oh, Cindy, where are you in New York? I lived about 20 miles south of the Canadian border, right where I'm totally talking with my hands, and you guys can't see me, but I'm doing it anyway. But right where New York, Vermont, and Canada meet, and a little town up there is where I lived for a while. All right, so we're going to try this. I've never done this. We're going to give it a whirl. Well, if I can get, well, friend, you're not wanting to come off there easy. Can I do this? No, we're just going to try it. We're going to go and roll and lift. Get rid of that little purpley. Ooh, that looks cool. Yay! Fun. All right, let's do it again. I don't know where that purple's coming from, but hey, it might be my fingers. I love this. This is so fun. All right, let's do the same little thing and continue to kind of build up our little sky above our little houses. And what we can do is we can do our sky for a little bit, and then we'll do the same technique, except use our greens and kind of make almost like a watercolor grass kind of thing. We're gonna pick this little guy up, and we're gonna go and roll. Cute. Yay! I love this. This is so fun. And I just like when you do this, it just becomes so like organic and not forced, because I am the worst when it comes to watercolors of trying to force the paint to go where I think it should go or where I want it to go. Using a technique like this just really kind of takes the stress out of that kind of thing, because it's just naturally going where it wants to go. And it looks very cool. I'm moving to Rochester. Oh, okay, Long Island. Ooh, okay, who puts on the Extraordinary Women's Conference? I'm not familiar with that one. All right, and we're gonna go smoosh. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. So fun. Okay, we're gonna switch our color scheme a little bit, so I'm gonna clean this off. Let's do just a few these little stripes in the green. I'm not going to clean it off crazy because it has some dabs of blue in it. All right, now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use these little greens. I only have 2 greens, but that's okay. We have, what is this? Rustic Wilderness, and this is the olive one. So we're going to use that to kind of make our kind of a grassy situation. which then we can add some trees and stuff too. All right, go in with this lighter green and kind of fill in those little gaps. There's a few little flecks of blue still in there. Let's get this dark green going a little bit. Needs a smidge more water. And I find when you're doing this to do like a spray as you're going across, because it definitely gives like a finer mist and you don't end up with as much liquid sitting on top, because it doesn't take a lot to activate these, but you want enough that not only it activates it, but it also moves around your plate really easy. All right, let's make our grass. So we're gonna go boop. Cute. In fact, I'm just gonna use this again, see what it does. Oh, hey. Just gonna kind of do some dabbies so we have like a grass situation. We kind of have a little hill going up over here. Well, that's fun. Easy. Oh, I love her. Liz Curtis Higgs, folks. She is my favorite questioner. Yes. I haven't read any of her books in a while, but I loved her, and I could be wrong. I believe she's the one that wrote Bad Girls of the Bible, and then there was also it was a historical fiction series she wrote that I loved, but now that I'm thinking, I can't remember the name of it. But yes, I have read her stuff before, and she is great. All right, I'm gonna move my plate. So we've kind of built our background here. Again, just kind of letting it do its own thing and create its own whatever, and I'm loving it. And it's kept soft so that when we put our other things down, it won't be, the colors of our other stuff will still be able to pop. All right, I'm gonna do a quick dry so that we are able to put our stickers down here in a second. So talk amongst yourselves. All right, I'm reading your comments real quick while I'm doing this. She won't be doing any conferences anymore. Took a full-time position at her church. So yeah, so you got to see like the last time she probably does that. All right, so I've got this dry. I'm gonna flip it over just so you guys can kind of see. Like, we did pretty good, even though we had quite a bit of water. We had one little sploop right there, but I will have no problem doing something else on the back of this. Like, it didn't bleed through enough to where it's going to prohibit me from doing anything else, so that's exciting. All right, so I've got these little guys. Aren't they cute? I'll put a link to it later, so you guys can find them if you want them. Oh no, where did I cut my clouds out already and now I can't find them. Oh no, oh no. Mr. Clouds. This is why I shouldn't do stuff early, because then I lose it. Well, Pooh and Tigger. Okay, give me a second. Where did my clouds go? Oh, I think they're on the floor. Hold up. Well, I found two of my clouds. We're gonna have to make do with those. Doggone it. I don't know where the other guy flew to. Oh well, we can make do. Okay, so I want to kind of just make like a little house scene, a little something something. I know So, like I said earlier, this is the first time using the Paper Studio clear sticker paper. It's thick, which is different from some of the other ones, and the colors do stay super vibrant. Oh, the printable's mine. I'll leave the link in the description when I'm done. It's from my Etsy shop. But I like this because it stays really bright, but it does seem to take forever to dry. So definitely don't use it if you're wanting to use your printable like right away. It's one of those, print it and let it sit for literally like a day. And the colors stay really well, but so that's a bonus, and that's kind of worth the wait, because a lot of times those colors get muted whenever you are. Look how cute! And that white edge will be gone because these stickers are clear. But I just kind of want to use this to kind of build a little scene with some of our trees. And like I said, I'm going to read our scripture again. We're in Psalm 91. It says, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust." And so I really wanted to, even though these aren't castles, those are watercolor crayons. So these are, I lost the lid because I'm me. These are Tim Holtz's, Holtz, however you say it, new distress watercolor pencils. So they react very much like a watercolor crayon. They're just a little denser, and it seems like it takes a little bit more to activate them than it would just like a regular watercolor crayon. But they're good. They definitely aren't as bright as like an Inktense blocks or even Neo colors, but they made a really, really pretty background for our little thing here. All right, so I want to kind of put some of these little houses in the background. So we're going to kind of trim him right there. And I'm going to kind of do, I guess, what would be like a dry run. And I don't know why I'm trimming these so close, they're clear. But I'm me, and I kind of get that way sometimes. But I just loved this idea. It was one I was kind of thinking about when I was, designing this and thinking about tonight. And just the idea of, I love that all of these little houses look different. And so it's one of those, it doesn't matter what your house looks like, that our shelter is really in God, and our shelter is in the Most High. Because, I mean, we all live in that, that Pinterest generation where everyone shows off how beautiful their house is or how neat everything is. And it can make us sometimes question, well, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing enough? Hey there, welcome. And so I just loved this idea of making this where all the houses look different. Some are little, some are big, but that it's not about what the house looks like. It's about the God that lives in the house. And so I just, I hit my camera, my bad. So I kind of just wanted to build us a little scene. I wanted to build us a little scene of houses that are all different, but all the people in them love God, and that's all that matters. And that's kind of where my thought process was for this scripture and for kind of deciding to use these houses on our live tonight. And the little white pieces will go away because obviously these are clear. Hi, welcome guys. If you guys are joining us now, welcome. We have been playing with our gel press and just playing with some watercolor techniques. I got the Tim Holtz watercolor pencils and I was testing those out and just showing the difference between those and some other water-soluble mediums. And we kind of used it to make a kind of a watercolor background for our little, I don't know, we're making a little house scene. So I will leave the link to this printable in the description later. This is from, it's mine. It's on mine. but I love it. It makes me happy because I love just, I don't know, I love pink. If those of you that have never seen me, I have bright pink hair. So I loved this one because really I fell in love with this little house. Hey there! Not picking anything else on. Welcome, guys. I shared my. Aw, thank you so much. That's so sweet. Anyone that's jumping in later, welcome. We are playing in an interleaved Bible, I forgot where we were. Psalm 91 verses 1 and 2, and we're just discussing the idea of I don't know. My brain. This is kind of where it went. Is just this. I've noticed a lot on TikTok. There are a lot of people that are kind of fighting back against that perfectionist mentality a little bit. Right, so this is probably you, pink and teal, so you probably love this little house too. But I've seen a lot of TikToks lately of people who are kind of fighting back against that Pinterest perfect mentality, and they're like, welcome to the side of TikTok where our house isn't always perfect, our kids sometimes scream, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I kind of love that because I think we have been in this just kind of awful realm for a while of perfectionism and just not having grace and just holding standards that God never intended for us to have. But we're forcing ourselves, and then by posting about it, which I'm not against social media, this is not a rant against social media, but by not being authentic and only showing the good stuff, we're kind of, I don't know, we're just making everybody's life harder, including our own. I'm like, my house is not always clean. I laugh because when company comes over, and I'm sure you guys do this too, when company comes over, you know, we mad dash, we clean, we do all this kind of stuff. But the people who live here on a day-to-day basis, I'm like, this is good enough for you guys. And I'm like, what? I thought about that once. I was like, why am I giving company a better, cleaner house than I'm giving my own family that lives here all the time? And a lot of that is, you know, the way I was raised. And I was raised with the mom, which I love my mom, but I definitely was raised with that mom of, there's one sock on the floor and oh my gosh, our house is filthy. And I'm like, okay, don't look in my bedroom right now then. But it's finding that happy medium. You shouldn't kill yourself, obviously. You shouldn't, you know, but, you know, find the happy medium. And post the happy medium. I don't care. Don't post the happy medium. All right, do I need another house? I think I need another house. So anyway, that's my rambling, and that's kind of just what my thought process was of just finding grace. And life is just real darn hard anyway, without imposing things on our life from strangers that we will never meet. Ever, probably ever. And you might, I don't know. I've seen numerous people on TikTok who have met on TikTok and got married. Good for them. And I totally get that, Mary. I guess my thing is it needs to be why. Why are you doing it? Why are you going through this spasm of cleanliness when company comes over? Is it because you're trying to keep up appearances? Or is it because you respect the people who are coming into your home enough to give them the very best? See the difference? And that's kind of where my brain is with that idea. Oh, I totally agree. No one wants to live in a nasty house. Totally get that. But it should come out of a place of love and appreciation and not out of a place of competition or one-upmanship or any of that kind of stuff. That's kind of just where my brain is. Because I don't know about y'all, but life is hard enough. Right? Rebecca needs adult interaction. I feel that. I remember those days when I was a stay-at-home mom and I was like, my husband would come home and I was like, I need an adult to talk to. I need an adult to talk to. And I totally agree with that, Mary. The house is never the issue. It's definitely something that you are dealing with personally. Like, I know for me, I dealt with a lot of perfectionist and people-pleasing things. And it definitely manifested. That was one of the things it manifested as, is when people came over, I would be that raving lunatic mom of everything having to be perfect because, I wanted people to approve of me. I wanted people to say I was doing a good job, that I had a nice house. So it wasn't necessarily about the house, but it was manifesting as the house. Right? TikTok can definitely be interesting. Let's just call it interesting. And it's weird the way the algorithm on TikTok works, because it's like you're watching the stuff you want to watch, and then weirdly it shows you like something kind of not really your thing, but you watch it because you're like, why is this on there? And then TikTok is like, oh, well then obviously you like this weird random thing, so we're just going to show you all these weird random things, and that's all your feed is then. And you're like, no, that's not what we were going for here, TikTok. I was trying to figure out what was going on. I wasn't agreeing to what you put on my TikTok screen. It's so weird. It's so weird. All right, while we were chatting, I'm just kind of peeling our little things back here and laying down our little... I did kind of a dry run of where we wanted all of these little things to go. I'm kind of making our nice little... Our little housing suburb situation here. There are some super fun people to follow on TikTok. There's some great Christian people to follow on TikTok if you ever need like a little, TikToks are small, so if you need your 60-second Jesus boost. Or just go to Instagram. We're there too. Well, I actually kind of like Instagram better, but Instagram is pushing the whole video thing so it can compete with TikTok, and it's kind of annoying. It's like, if I wanted to do videos, I would go to TikTok. Cute. So it's kind of hard to see. I know there's a glare. I'll put a picture of this when we're done too. So we're just making a little village, and because the paper is clear, which you could obviously do this on regular paper too, and they would stand out a little bit more, but we're kind of just keeping things kind of really in that watercolory kind of feel. So by doing it on clear paper, I'm allowing kind of the watercolor of the background that we made to kind of mix with the watercolor visually, not actually, but mix with the watercolor effects of our printable. And this printable is not wanting to come off of this. Come on, friend. And this, I find this sticker paper, this clear sticker paper, it's from the Paper Studio from Habelabe. It's thicker than some of the other ones. So it's just definitely something to, just think about. So we're going to do these little guys kind of, right, oop, hello friend. Right there. So kind of built our little village. And I think we're just going to put this little guy right here, and he's going to be our main focus because I'm going to live in this house. I'm going to live in the pink one. Years ago when I lived, random story, years ago when I lived in a little town called Reston in Louisiana, we had this house that was a pink mansion, and I was absolutely in love with it. Like, I still would live in it to this day because it was pink and it was a mansion. But I loved it so much. And I remember when we would drive by it, I would be like, I'm going to live there someday. Never been back to that town, but I always say I was going to live in that pink mansion someday. All right, we got our little village made. We got our little clouds. And now we're going to start doing just a few little accent things. I've got some paint pens. That one's kind of funky. I'm going to clean it off a little bit. Maybe. There it is. These are, of course, my favorite paint pens. They are from Edding. They used to only be available in the UK, but they are now available in the US, which is super fun. And they write really well when you use these clear sticker papers, because obviously they're very slick and they're very plasticky. So it's really great just for adding some little accents. So I'm just going to go in and kind of doodle in some little marks to kind of give it a little bit more kind of definition and to our clouds. Just kind of following along some of them to kind of give it a little bit more depth and do some little doodlies up here. And sometimes you got to come and do a little tap tap. Get it going. Kind of make our clouds stand out a little bit more. Loving. I think, do we want to do, I think I might do a little bit of an outline on some of the, is this the one? Just to kind of make them pop just a little bit. Give them almost like a little bit of a shadow. Not a lot, just enough to make them stand out a little bit. Give them a little oomph. Give our little tree some oomph. Give our little houses some oomph. I think I might recreate this too, maybe with just without using the clear sticker paper, just to kind of get an idea of what it would look like if they didn't blend in so much. Maybe, we shall see. Kind of add a little black here to our trees so they pop a little bit. Cute. Kind of like our little things pop here a little bit. Yay. My grandma's little pink house. She had a pink Cadillac. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I would have loved that. What's hilarious is my actual dream house is a yellow house with a wraparound porch, because I have childhood memories of, there was a house we had that had a wraparound porch, and we would put our skates on and we would skate like around the wraparound porch. I'm Southern. It's a porch. I don't know what you call it, a veranda, whatever. It's a porch. Let's see, let's add a little bit of this up here as well. Give our clouds a little oomph as well. I think we're pretty close to being done. I think we just need to add some kind of words. Just trying to decide what I want them to be. Got a new stamp set. Let me find it. Ooh, maybe we'll use these. So I got this new, actually, so Mary, these are from Corinne's. It's from her stuff, so let's use that. I think we're just going to have the word my shelter go across, maybe in the sky. All right, come on out, friend. Yeah, that came out. These are Boss Lady Alphas is what they're called. All right, let me find a stamping block. I like my long skinny one, but I don't know where that one is. There it is. Oh, apparently I used it as a paint thing. I am awful. I'm why we can't have nice things. All right, and of course going to use my favorite archival ink here. Fresh stamps. Well, I'll let you know if I like them. I also bought, where did they go? I bought these. I used these on last week's live. They're called Messy Stamped Alpha, and they're just really cute and, you know, kind of messy and fit my aesthetic. They were fun. And I love the name of this one, Boss Lady Alpha. So we're gonna do, and I like that this particular one has those little grid lines so I can get things decently straight. Or when in doubt, just make it intentionally wiggly. All right. And then, little tip, if you're using a new stamp, always do a pre-stamp, because even though it's acrylic or even rubber, it does have little microscopic holes in it. So sometimes you have to kind of do a pre-stamp off on something else and then go back in and do your actual stamping. So if you've ever like used a stamp for the first time and it didn't cover well, it's just because it needed kind of a little pre-game, if you will. All right. I think we're just going to stamp right here. A nice little stampy stamp. And because I am going over the edge, you can see there's a little bit of black or a little bit of white lines going through there. Once that dries, I'll just go in with like probably a Faber-Castell pen or something and kind of fill in that little white line where it crossed over the height of our clear sticker paper and our regular paper. That's an easy fix. All right, now the fun of spelling the word shelter, because that's a lot of letters. We're also going to have to do the E separately again. So let's see if I can spell S. H. E. Yes, I am spelling this out as I go. Thanks for joining, Mary. I'll put on my social media at the Creative Life Studios the finished page so you can see what it looks like when it's done. It's pretty close to being done, though. I think we just need to finish up our title. Thanks for joining us, though, sweetie. So, shelter. Where's my T? I like this particular alphabet because it's big without being too big. All right, and here's a tip. If you repeat a letter, put it in its first place and then remove it and put it in the second place. And then that way you know exactly how much space you need when you go back in and put it in again. Because we'll have to do that separate because it doesn't come with two E's. What about for R? R. All right. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do a little pre-stamp off. It also helps you test and see if your letters are wiggly, which my L is a little wiggly. Make sure that I'm not super picky about them being super straight and even, but that L was a little too much even for me. All right, so I'm going to do this. And if I didn't have paint on there, I'd be able to see this better, but that's okay. We're going to stamp shelter right here. Give it a nice press, 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 since we're going over those plastics a little bit. Ooh, that came out really light. Let's see if I can do that again without jacking this up. Whatever you... I think I actually need a new ink pad. I think this one might be on its way out. All right, this is going to be fun trying to line this back up. So you might see my hair. We might end up with a 3D effect if I'm not careful. Work this time. Hey, that's not bad. That's not bad. I got it pretty darn close. All right, then we need to put our E back in. So I'm going to take the E off of here and actually just put it on another stamp here. And we're just going to add him to the family here. Boom. Love. I'm here for it. I'm going to be a good girl and put all these back on here before I lose them. I am the worst about that kind of stuff. I have many partial stamp alphabets. Okay, did that. I was a good girl. Let's put that back on there. Tuck it back over there. All right, I'm gonna go in with my black and just fill in these little white patches that came about from stamping kind of over our acrylic stickers or plastic stickers, clear stickers, whatever you want to call them, just so that it's not as noticeable. I am loving it. It is so cute. Oh. And I think I'm going to, so this is a really thin Faber-Castell pen. I think I'm going to use this. Let's see what my next option is. This one might be too thin. I don't know what some of these mean. Okay, we're just going to look at all of them. Nope, not that one. Yeah, let's use that one. I think I want to just rewrite that first little scripture, just so if you're like me, I don't love my own handwriting, but I try to still use it because someday these are going to get passed down to my kids or my grandkids. And I love the idea that someday down the road, they're going to be actually reading something in my handwriting. So no matter how crappy I think my handwriting is, I still try to use it sometimes. But I'm going to rewrite this scripture right here. Just the 91 verse 1, that he who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. So I'm just going to write that right here. He who dwells in the shelter. Yes, I'm saying this as I go. Of the Most High. Mainly because I'm worried if I just try to do it from memory, I'll mess something up. Abide in the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. And as always, we're going to put today's date on it. Today is October 20th. So I'm going to write 10/20/22. Where did the year go? Hey there. Yeah, it'll totally be, you'll be able to go when we're done. You should be able to go back on my YouTube channel and it will, and watch it from the beginning and just watch the replay. But welcome anyway. I hate to say we are almost done, but that's okay. So it's not my normal style. If you guys are used to my normal style, I mean, my normal style is usually, let's see. I mean, my normal style is usually like this or this. Very messy, very, well, there's this one. Very funky, very just out there. But I wanted to try something different. I wanted to do, like I said, this printable was kind of speaking to me, and I wanted to use it, and I wanted to do something a little different than what my normal style is. So I thought I would, I'm just flipping through showing you awesome things. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say awesome. I was reading Lee's thing. I'm not calling myself necessarily awesome. This was one of my favorites. But anyway, so I think we're good. I might stare at it for a little bit longer and see if it needs any more little accent kind of things. I am going to go in before I forget. Let's see. I want to make sure we highlight our verse. Actually, I wonder if we're going to see if since I printed this on a clear sticker, I wonder if this little like washi tag element can act as like a highlighter. We're about to find out, friends. Because it's clear, but I don't know if it's clear enough. We're about to find out. Oh, Lee thinks I'm awesome. Thanks. I have my days. Some days are better than others. I think that just goes for all of us. Welcome to humanity, right? Welcome to being a human on Earth. Let's see. It does. Boom. Score. All right. I think we're done, friends. I am loving it. It is definitely different from my normal style, but I'm not mad at it. But it was super fun. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. You can always follow me either in my Facebook group or here on YouTube at the Creative Life Studios, or of course on Instagram at the Creative Life Studios. And I think we're good. I will put a finished picture of this on my Instagram probably either later today or tomorrow, so you guys can just kind of look and see kind of what it looks like a little closer and look at it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thanks for joining me for watching the replay as well if you didn't get to watch it live. And I will see you guys again next week. Have an amazing rest of your week and get a good night's sleep tonight.